Namaste Swamiji. My name is Shivanand. I've been your YouTube Eklavya student for quite some time now, so thank you for all your teachings. I understand that from a Paramarthika standpoint, there is no bondage and there is no liberation. The ever-revealed, self-luminous and non-dual Brahman alone is, right? Brahman and Avidya are used at the Vyavaharika level to explain the appearance of bondage. And ignorance itself is defined as Anadi and Anirvachaniya. But this formulation gives rise to a subtle tension that's hard to resolve from within the model itself. I've heard you talk about the Bhamati and Vivarana and Vratika schools to explain the locus of ignorance, and asking why ad infinitum leads to the why Maya question, which is itself nonsensical. So in addressing this question, I've heard you quote, Agyan ko siddh mat kijiye, Agyan ko kaatiye several times. But since Advaita lays primacy in the first person experience and reasoning, how can I use that to not possibly resolve this logical contradiction that I see, but rather dissolve the paradox? Or is the final inward turn an intuitive leap of faith that goes beyond reasoning?
Okay, as you can see, he's well up on his Vedanta. Yes, this is one of these final questions you have when you're studying the philosophy of Vedanta, when you're looking at it at the Vedanta worldview. It will come to this. The nature of ignorance. So if Advaita Vedanta, this is the hinge on which everything turns. Any question you ask about Advaita Vedanta, is the world real or false? Does the world exist or not? Am I in bondage or am I liberated? Am I Brahman or not? All these questions, the answer will always be jnana ajnana, but in knowledge and ignorance. The difference is in knowledge and ignorance. Difference is not out there. You are actually Brahman, but only in knowledge that is revealed. In ignorance, the world is revealed. Now, your precise question was that I often quote a sadhu. It's not just one sadhu, it's a saying in the Himalayas about this question. They will say in Hindi, Agyan ko siddha mat kijiye Mahatma ji, Agyan ko kaatiye. Don't try to establish ignorance, cut down ignorance. That's the goal of Advaita Vedanta. What is this establishing ignorance? There's a huge amount of philosophy on ignorance. Since Advaita Vedanta lays so much emphasis on ignorance, it's because of ignorance the samsara is there. Because we have ignorance, then we must generate knowledge, because knowledge is the antidote to ignorance and all of this. Then the question arises, what is this ignorance you're talking about? What is its nature? Where did it come from? Where does it exist? What's the locus? Is it in Brahman? Is it in the individual being? What's it made of? All of these questions. And the answer to that is, you can do some philosophy to the extent that you like, and as Americans say, knock yourself out. However, it will not help you. Why not? Agyan ko siddha karna, that means to establish agyana or ignorance. It means to determine its precise nature. What exactly is ignorance? What are its limits? What is its cause? What are its precedents and antecedents? You will never be able to do that, for the precise reason that it's not a reality. It will always be paradoxical. So, there was a seminar in the New School a few years ago on the unknown and on ignorance. And one lady, a professor from England, she was saying that there's a Rutledge encyclopedia of ignorance coming. The more you read it, the more ignorant you will become. Yeah, it's a whole huge book. Books and books are going to be written on lots of writing on ignorance. And I told her, do you know that there is a huge tradition, ancient Indian tradition of dialectics of ignorance? What exactly is ignorance? What exactly is non-knowing, ignorance? So, great deal of intellectual discussion on stupidity. Ignorance is stupidity, basically. The practical advice from a spiritual seeker's point of view is to cut it down, to remove ignorance, because there is no solution. You will never get a clear, satisfactory, complete theory of ignorance. The reason being, it's ignorance. You will never. It is bound to be paradoxical. The more you understand it clearly, the more paradoxical you will end up with paradoxes, and that shows that the theory is true. If you were able to come to a clear-cut explanation, then ignorance would be a real thing. Then you would have two ultimate realities, Brahman and ignorance. If the investigation of ignorance leads to unresolvable paradoxes, you know you're on the right track. The Mayikasya Bhushanam Tat, it says, the old Sanskrit saying, this is the glory. Bhushanam means ornaments. This is the ornament of Brahman, whose Maya is like this. You say this is paradoxical, this is not resolvable, then this must be a fault in the theory. No. It is meant to be paradoxical. If it was not paradoxical, then duality will be real. Non-duality depends on the cause of duality being paradoxical. Then what do you do with it? You don't try to form a logical explanation of it. You try to remove it by knowledge. How do you do it? Well, that's very good. Good question, easy question. Self-inquiry. There's one thing that ignorance hates above everything else, and that's knowledge. Darkness hates light. Ignorance hates knowledge. To remove ignorance, to cut down ignorance, all you need to do is generate knowledge. How do you generate knowledge? All knowledge is generated by inquiry. And here the knowledge is about ourselves. So the inquiry should be about ourselves. Who is it that is ignorant? You will see very soon this so-called ignorance, it's even thinner than skin deep. It's the faintest of tissues. It remains alive. Its nourishment is avichara, lack of inquiry. It is very powerful as long as you don't look at it directly. It will generate all sorts of fantasies and terrors and dreams, errors, samsara, as long as you don't look at it directly. If you look at it directly, I'm ignorant about myself, but here I am. It begins to dissipate like a morning mist. So self-inquiry, Drigdrishya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, Avastatraya Vichara. Ramana Maharshi's even more stripped down version of go to the essence. Who am I? Who is the one who is making this inquiry? Yeah, that's the answer.